What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, Concord launched. You know, look, this console war stuff, it's all fun. But when it comes down to it, it's all about the games, right? I mean, fundamentally, it's all about the games. If you ain't got no good games, what's the point of having a console, right? I mean, that's kind of what the argument was for the ponies talking about Xbox for years. But now, seems like the sneakers on the other foot, the shoes on the other toes, and 10 toes down. It's like 9.5 Anyway, Concord. I was watching Dirt and Sean. You know, they do their thug thizzle. And I'm gonna say this right now. I was gonna say Iron Lords is probably the best show. Nah, it's Dirt and Sean. It's Dirt and Sean. WBG. It's Dirt and no, that isn't even WB. What is when it's just Dirt and Sean? It's just hilarious. They're just sitting there and they're pulling up receipts. Look at this shit. You know, it's funny. So anyway, when they were doing that, they pulled up a few receipts. You know, they looked at Concord's numbers like, wait, that's not, that can't be real. Let's go back. Let's look at what Redfall was doing. Peak concurrent when it launched, 6,000 players. It's like, that's not a lot. All right. You know what? Let's go further back. Let's go back to Bleeding Edge. Let's see what that one is. 1,400 and something change. It's like, oh man, that's not good. Concord, 608 or 13 something. Not enough. 617. I'm not saying 617,000. I'm saying 600 and change. Singular. Six. Look, we all knew that Concord was gonna die. It was failure to launch. It was sent out to die. It wasn't gonna do nothing. But this has been catastrophic. And okay, so these are just Steam numbers, right? And Steam is a good indication or indicator because more people are on Steam than they are on PlayStation. I mean, PlayStation would lead you to believe that they sold 61 point something million units, which is false. I'm talking about sold through to customers, and they might be at 50 million, maybe, you know, if you're being generous. Still, you know, what are the numbers on PlayStation? You notice they're not sharing any numbers because it looks bad for them. They can't share numbers. They look like fools. And so they can't hide the Steam numbers because they have no jurisdiction over Steam. Steam can do whatever the hell they want. And so we're getting a glimpse of the popularity of these PlayStation IPs without the PlayStation filter, without the PlayStation tweak of the numbers, if you will. And it ain't looking good. And that's why when you say, oh, they sold 60 million consoles, they're the best. It's like, and 600 people are playing Concord on Steam. How many people, like usually, the Steam number is higher than the PlayStation number. Usually. I'm not saying it is now, but I'm just saying, yeah. So, if 600 and some people are playing Concord on Steam, how many less are playing on PlayStation? It's just, it is so, listen, Sony doesn't know what the hell they're doing, okay? You do not charge for a free-to-play game. That's the number one rule for gas games, free. You saw it, look, Microsoft, the biggest video game company in the world right now, I think maybe, they made Halo free. That's their jam. That's their baby. and they made that multiplayer free. That should give you indication, Sony, PlayStation. It should give you an indication if a long-lasting, legendary multiplayer game franchise went free to play. You think your brand new, no frills, Guardian of the Galaxy game is gonna do anything? Especially when everybody's like, yeah, this is kind of whack, it's kind of boring, it's kind of soulless, this is a cheap knockoff Guardians of the Galaxy. This is negative. Everybody's like, it's fun, but it's whack and boring and garbage. I'm like, how you gonna say it's fun and then all the other stuff? I'm looking at this, I'm like, yo, this is, I mean, because I'm looking at the cutscenes and the animation and the facial animation. I'm like, yo, whoever did the art on the facial animations and all that stuff, it's probably facial capture, but still, it looks good. I'm like, yeah, that looks good. The cutscenes, I guess, they look good. But the gameplay, and guess what the PC players care about? Gameplay. And guess what they care about a lot more than gameplay? I don't know if that game was made for controller or mouse and keyboard, but I don't know. It must be something terrible about that game, because if the game itself, the core, foundationally speaking, was dope, mouse and keyboard, let's go, then, it probably would be okay. But if the PC gamers can't even get with it, come on, son. You made a whack game. Your game is trash when only 600 people are playing it on launch day. Come on, man. It came out yesterday. It might have been higher yesterday, maybe like 2,000. I don't even know. But the point is that Concord was not sent out to die. It was made to fail. Let's say it that way. It's not, because like a game like Titanfall 2, that was sent out to die because that game is awesome, right? And they sandwiched it between two of the biggest shooters on the planet, and within weeks. I'm like, come on, son, that was sent out to die. Awesome game, sent out to die. Concord was made to fail because it wasn't awesome. It wasn't sent out to die. It was dead before it even was sent out. DOA, dead on arrival. It was stillborn. It was not even, it's whatever. They trying to compare. No, you can't. It's just, yeah, no. And, these donkey unicorns and these ponies, they swear they're catching wins. They swear they're catching W's. You notice nobody's talking about Concord, right? Everybody was focused on Wulong, Black Myth Wulong, right? And I got a whole bunch of comments in the things. Apologies. That video was made like 3 days ago, but I couldn't put it up because my internet was like messing up. I had some issues, technical issues, and so it took me like a couple of days to get all that squared away. Anyway, so that video went up before the game released, the Wukong video. So I hadn't even seen the Digital Foundry review of the PlayStation 5 yet. And that's why what I said, muddy textures and all that stuff, it holds. Because I was sitting there, I was watching, I was like, that looks like trash. That looks like a PlayStation 4 game right there. And everybody it works fine for me in the comments. It works fine for me. And somebody called me grandpa. I am not a grandpa, don't have kids, so there you go. Just look like one. Anyway, and it's just a bunch of, it seemed to me like ponies, donkey, unicorns. Not sure which is which in the comments. And they were just mad, and of course someone said, "Oh, how's it play on Xbox?" I'm like, I mean, that's why it's not on Xbox, because it's hot trash garbage. And Microsoft has higher standards for video games. You heard Phil. Phil said, yo, we want good games. We want the games to be good. Sony obviously doesn't care. Sony said, yo, just get it up on there first. Exclusive, console exclusive. We don't care if it's whack and trash and garbage. Even the PC version is kind of rough. If you don't have the best of the best. Still kind of rough. It's not optimized correctly, or, whatever. But yeah, you can't sit there. I mean, you can, obviously, but it's not an exclusive. And even you bragging about it being an exclusive, and it's trash the way it is. And just because you're looking at the one version, you don't see the actual beautiful version. You're looking at the trash version, and you think it's beautiful, PlayStation 5 version. And I'm looking at it, right? And I'm like doing like boop, 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 boop. In my head, I'm like, okay, this is Unreal Engine 5. PlayStation 5 cannot handle Unreal Engine 5 how Unreal Engine 5 wants to be handled. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at, remember that demo with the girl flying around and stuff? It was interesting. It's like, oh, this is on PlayStation 5. I'm like, okay, maybe it's on a dev kit or something, because I don't know if the regular PlayStation 5 could, nah. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was on the regular PlayStation 5. But the point is, Wulong, Black Myth is a Wukong? Whatever. Wukong. PlayStation 5, and they did the side-by-side PC, PlayStation 5, and that junk was muddy as hell. And I'm like, well, first, PlayStation's GPU is not as strong as PC, obviously, and it's not as strong as the Xboxes, because they have 36 CUs. Xbox has, technically they have, I want to say 658, something like that, but 52 are functional, so they have a few that are just like, what's up? And so, if you want to do PlayStation 5 versus Xbox Series X, the Xbox Series X will perform better. And this is why I say this, because I watched the Digital Foundry PC breakdown of Wulong, or Wukong, whatever it's called, Black Myth, and it was GPU intensive. The CPU was at, I don't know what, it was low. It was 25%, something like that. GPUs in the 90s, 96, 90. It's GPU limited. That game is GPU limited. Maybe it's Unreal because of all the nanite and stuff. You know, it's a lot of triangles to compute. So that tells me that the PlayStation 5 cannot handle UE5 games like the Xbox Series can. Now, this rumored PlayStation 5 Pro will be able to handle them better, but the CUs are so close together as far as the numbers that it's not going to be an appreciable a big difference. I can't even say the word. It's not going to be a big difference because you talk, what is it, 52 to 60 clock speeds might be faster on PlayStation, but I'm going to say they might clock it down because of the extra wattage that is required for all those CUs. I don't know how they're going to do that. Maybe they're going to increase the wattage overall. I don't know. Look, that whole system is crazy to me. It's like, how? Okay, your power limited. You're saying, okay, this is the only power, and then the GPU and the CPU play tug of war with it. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess it works for them. But I don't think when you're looking at like Unreal Engine games or just PC ports in general, they have problems with those. You know, look at The Last of Us. I think it was the first one. Was it the first one? I think it was the first one. It was all messed up. And it's like, oh, it's not lazy devs. It's just the PlayStation is not as good as these ponies and donkey unicorns would lead you to believe. And the fact that most of the devs used it as their production point, you know, meaning it was the priority, then it got optimized, so it got the best out of the devs, but it's definitely not the best for creating the best games, you know. So that's always going to haunt the PlayStation 5, and this game is a perfect example of how the PlayStation 5 kind of sucks. And then, you know, when it does come out for the Xbox, it's going to have the benefit of it's taking more time, because as I understand it, Xbox said, yo, this is trash. Make it not trash. Delay it and make it not trash. You know, why they took it off of the splash screen, but what they should have said coming later for the Xbox. They should have done the same thing that they did to Indiana Jones. That would have been, you know, if they would have done that, then that thing they pulled at the opening night live would have been, oh, well, you know, whatever, that's fair. They did it for us, and they do it for them, whatever. But, you know, that doesn't matter. But It's so weird because, you know, we got Concord, which is trash, and then Stellar Blade was underperformed. It sold 1 million. It sold 1 million. Stellar Blade's not on PC. Stellar Blade is only on PlayStation. It sold 1 million copies out of 60 million. Those numbers don't add up. I know I said that before, but look, it's not just me. It's not just being like a fanboy or playing in this fanboy console war stuff. It is the third party people who are making these games. Stellar Blade, that Korean company, I forgot what they're called. They made a game only for PlayStation. They got paid whatever. It's for exclusivity, blah, blah, blah. They only sold 1 million units. How does that help them? They looking at it like, y'all got 60. How come we only sold 1 million? What's going on here? Oh, we got to change. We got to go on PC. We got to go everywhere. What people aren't saying, Donkey Unicorns and Ponies in particular, is that Microsoft is making moves. They're doing all these things. They did Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves blew up, sold millions on the PlayStation. You would assume that it wouldn't sell millions on the PlayStation, but it has. And people who make Stellar Blade be like, oh shoot, they're looking at what Microsoft is doing. They're like, yo, they sold a lot over there. Well, if we put our game everywhere, it would sell more. Duh, yes it would. Fortnite's everywhere, it sells a lot. Minecraft's everywhere, it sells a lot. I keep saying this because it's true. And Microsoft has known this for a long time, but they've tried to stick with the old way of video gaming, of industrying, if you will. Same thing as Sony's doing, trying to stay true to the old way. And Phil Spencer said in the latest interview, he said the industry is changing. The way that games are distributed amongst consoles or wherever is changing. You got to realize that. And I realize it, and I'm fine with it, because how Microsoft is setting it up, it's going to be console exclusive for a time exclusive, obviously. How it was, like the last video I said, how it was in the 360 era. Call of Duty wasn't exclusive to Xbox, but they had some exclusive skins, they had some exclusive maps, timed exclusivity, timed exclusive maps. All these things were timed exclusive. So these people who are like, yo, I'm gonna play Call of Duty day one, let's go, Call of Duty's coming out. Oh, we get the maps first over here. That's where we're getting it. That's what's up. Because that behavior is not going to change in people. You know, they're going to say, yo, am I going to wait 6 months to play Indiana Jones? Hell no. If you're an Indiana Jones fan and you only have a PlayStation 5, I'm saying you're a real Indiana Jones. Like, I got the hat, I got the whip, I go to Disney World and I put on a costume and I stand next to it. I'm a super fan. Short round. I hate snakes. Why'd it have to be snakes? If you're a super duper fan, Indiana Jones is your favorite character, and you only have a PlayStation 5, guess what that person's gonna do? They're not waiting. They're gonna get an Xbox. Period. Or if they have a PC already, they're gonna buy it on a PC. But if they don't, if they're one of those, I can't do PC, I'm just a console dude, and you decided to choose the wrong console because you thought they was gonna be the winners. Games like Indiana Jones is going to change their mind. And 6 months is not a small amount of time. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, obviously it is. But in video games, people forget about games in 6 months. A game like Indiana Jones, which is a single-player, narrative, story-based game, a little redundant, that's the perfect game to have a 6-month exclusivity, because it's like, oh, okay, 6 months. We'll get all the sales, basically, if there are going to be any sales. We'll get them all then. And then we'll get some more sales. Maybe that's when the DLC will drop 6 months later. And then we'll get a resurgence. We'll get some more people playing back on Xbox. And we'll get the new people on PlayStation who want to spend $70. Xbox should charge them $80. Let's go. Get that. You know what? The Xbox tax needs to flip. And that's going to be the new Xbox tax. Actually, that is the new Xbox tax. Not $80, but 70%. Indiana Jones, all you ponies and Donkey Unicorns, if you buy it on PlayStation, you're paying the Xbox tax. You're paying that 70% tax, baby. I mean, you're not, but Sony is. So that's the new Xbox tax right there. I told you, Microsoft, they're pimping out Sony. And I didn't really think about the implications of the percentages and like, oh, if PlayStation is super successful and they have 100 million consoles and everybody's buying Xbox games on PlayStation, they're literally funding Xbox's business with 70%. They're literally funding their business. They get a little bit for the servers or whatever, you know, electricity and the water, utilities, whatever. But it's almost like free money, almost, but not quite. But it's, you know what I'm saying. I know somebody in the chat said, "Well, yeah, it's on PlayStation, but Sony didn't have to make the game." I'm like, okay, sure, that's true, but of course, Microsoft has the capital to not have to worry about, oh, we don't have the money to make the game. Sony is at the point where they're spending all this money on game. I'm like, how are they doing that when their margins are so thin? How can they afford to make these games? You notice you haven't seen a game, Astrobot. How much money did Astrobot cost to make? $1 million maybe? A couple of $1 million? I'm telling you, man, y'all don't realize that your game output, the PlayStation game output, is going to be super dry and super short. You'll be lucky if you get three. I'm going to be generous and say 3 more first-party bangers. That's it. You're getting Spider-Man 3. Now, and we're not doing part 1 and part 2 is 2 games. That's 1 game, okay? Just because they split it in a couple of pieces don't mean it's 2 games. It's 1 game they split into 3 pieces because they can't afford to sell it for 70. They got to sell it for 150. Anyway, Spider-Man. I don't know if Wolverine's coming out this gen. I'm going to be real. I don't know if Wolverine's coming out this gen. Spider-Man, let's just keep Wolverine to the side for now. What was it? Death Stranding 2, maybe? But that's not exclusive either because the first one's on Game Pass on PC. Y'all didn't know that, did you? Well, now you know. I think I'm going to download it. I might play it. Just to look at I don't really care about the gameplay because I'm like, that looks like I don't want to play that. It don't even look like game. Don't even look like fun. Anyway, and there was another game, right? Look, I mean, I follow video games. I kind of know what's going on the PlayStation side, but I cannot think of the next game that PlayStation is putting out. Oh, it's Cory Barlog's Cyberpunk game. That's going to be next gen too. Well, maybe not. That might come out in a couple of years. That might come out. So let's say those 3 games. Maybe 4. But I would say 3. But anything past that would be cross-gen. Because look, they trying to make money. That's all. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm sorry. I'm rumbling. But let me know in the comments below what you think about Concord's real super failure. And I mean, wow. It's not looking good for PlayStation. It's not looking good. Well, what happened to Helldivers, man? That was that seemed like it was going good. It's almost like every game that Sony has that is a gas or a multiplayer game, it like starts off, if it's good or whatever, it'll start off kind of strong, and then like Sony says, all right, whatever, and just leave and just goes to the store and don't come back. Goes to the store for some milk and don't come back. I'm like, what? You know? It's like they don't support the games after launch. And I'm like, y'all got to change your whole strategy, your whole kind of culture inside your dev studios in order to support these games long term. I would say the only game that they're supporting long term is like GT7 maybe, but I don't even know what updates they're doing. You know, I mean, I would assume they are. They still have the servers up and stuff. But that's because like it's grandfathered in kind of legacy type of game. But I mean, name me the games that they're supporting like they should. You know, like Sea of Thieves is so strong that they sold millions and millions of copies on PlayStation. Come on, son. That's a 8-year-old game almost right now. And they still supporting that like it's. So I don't know, man. But anyway, I appreciate y'all hanging out, man. Like and subscribe. Hit me in the comments below, y'all. Let me know what y'all think. Concord is trash. Hello. And I'll talk to y'all on the next one. Till the way.